Hood Postman, Mindset Mission, City, Hood, Click. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Lock the door on him. Lock the door on him. Hood Postman. Hood Postman. Reporting live. Reporting live. This the Hood Postman, come and check the program. You ain't from the streets, this is something you should know, man. Running from police, gotta grip the wheel with both hands. Speeding down the interstate, please do not approach him. 40s in the fridge, got the caddy in the driveway. Get all out of my face, I don't wanna violate. Looked up in the mirror and I told myself, why wait? We took this shit worldwide, you only in 5 states. Came from the 4 corners with my 4 quarters. Showed them the style, then they stole on us. Times got wild, then they told on us. Dog, it was hard, but we had to keep it rolling. You ain't gotta ask, you know where to find me. I be in the back streets where it get grimy. It's just me and Mel, Rennie looking bride D. I be going hard till I'm in the 5 C's. Know the vibes. I'ma do it till I die. I ain't never switched sides. I ain't never had to tell a lie. Let's ride. Know the vibes. I'ma do it till I die. I ain't never switched sides. I ain't never told them no lie. Let's ride. Hood Postman. 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 Hood Postman.
Shout out to the Mailroom Nation, the Mailroom Goons. I am Professor Millie Mail, the Hood Postman. Be sure to click the notification, be like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment down below. So when the dope content hit, it's going to feel like it's the first and 15. Welcome to the Mailroom, where you can come in and take a look at your mind and examine what's in your heart. Before they had handguns, we had fair ones. It's not a glorification, a glamorization. It is an education. Always, we come to get an education. We come to get a positive side of what's so much negativity that we see on these airways, on the internet, and all the individuals that come on. It's just so much. It's just too much, and I just want to try to give my take on it. You know, I know that a lot of people have different perspectives, but here's the thing: perception is not a reality since it's subjective. Meaning a lot of it is just feelings, people's feelings. Everyone is interpret this world differently based on their experiences and that they may have had, or their belief systems that they develop. Only truth is reality. All else is just ignorance, deception, distraction, distortion, limitations, and indoctrination, and the elaborate mystery of illusion that we all call life. This is where we at, folks. Shout out to King Mike Mark, shout out to Piers and everybody that's in the chat. Appreciate you, everybody that's joining us, and hopefully we get some more people in here. We can talk about things because we all have, we when we was all young, we was dipped in curiosity and fell in love with mischief. That's just the nature of it and how we come across as a people. For some reason, we seem to be very attractive to mischief, and we get dipped in all these different situations, and we just overexpress it, overdo it, overindulge, all that. Shout out to the Shy. Welcome to the chat room, bro. I
How
was
you
just
doing, brother man?
I'm good. I was just talking to everybody about perception is not really reality since it's subjective, and a lot of the subjectiveness is based on feelings. What I also want to say is that a lot of what we have to depend on is data, statistics, figures, and we compile this information, and then we find out what the truth is. That's what the truth is based in, and data, statistics, and figures. So a lot of what we see on the internet, and we look at around and we take a look, it's like a lot of individuals that are airing out their personal feelings and personal attacks and personal assaults, and it's all personal. It's nothing It's not based in facts. It's not based in something that they went and studied. It's all just feelings, and that does harm to the entire culture. It hurts. It harms us overall. And I know it's entertaining. It's obviously it's very entertaining because a lot of you engage, indulge, listen, and follow it, and really take it to the degree that where it becomes like Bible to you. It's concrete. It's like if certain individuals say something, you like, oh, he that's facts. That's that's facts. It don't be no facts. It just be that personal feelings. Don't tell me what you feel. Tell me what you know. See,
Right.
that's different. Don't tell me what you feel because what you feel is your personal. It's subjective. Once again, shout out to the Shy. Come on, Shy. Add something to what we talking about because we can go so far with this. Because let me add this one point. A lot of what we're doing right. When I first come on the internet, I came on with Kev Mack. We was doing interviews. We were charting the history, and then a couple of people they were doing following some of the same paths, similar paths. Then we get Charleston White. Then we get Whack 100. Then we get Milk 400, Milk 74. Then we get Crip Mac. We get all these other individuals, right? That that have different perspectives, but not really based on nothing but self pure entertainment or even distortion, distraction, deception, and a lot of ignorance. It's just a lot of it. But what's your take on it, Shy?
Yeah, I'm 100% agreed. Like you said, I think a lot of people's perceptions have become reality, and they think that their perception or their reality should be shared with the rest of us, or with the rest of the world, I should say. And then the people, are so into entertainment. This is a I know we've always had entertainment. Don't get me wrong, and I don't want to seem like I'm just coming down on this generation, but it just seems like that this generation has more entertainment than any generation. I mean, that I've read about, lived through, and even see. I mean, it's just so much. Everything is just bogged down. The attention spans are short. Everything is quick. They call it a microwave generation,
Uh-huh.
and this generation and going forward, unfortunately, we're good and bad, but I think there's more bad than good just because of the simple fact is that it's oversaturated. We've been oversaturated with entertainment. We've been oversaturated with our minds being uh, reflective. We're not focused enough. I just look at some of the kids with their phones. If they don't have them phones, sometimes some of these people lose their minds. Even some adults, they get to the point where they can't live without entertainment. They always need to watch something that's going to keep their minds busy instead of focusing on some real things, some real life things. If focuses on a family or whatever the case may be, entertainment right now is ruling, and it seems
Yeah.
like there's no end to it.
And, and,
Not
and
an end to it.
case in point, man, just think about there was a time when we had India.Arie, Alicia Keys, what's the girl from the
Lauren
food,
Hill,
Lauren
Lauren
Hill.
Hill.
Yeah, Lauren Hill. We had countless of other Erica Badu, Jill Scott, Missy Elliott, Angie Stone. But now we got this girl. What's her name? Ground Pound. She talked about Ground Pound, Brown, and the thing Pink and all this stuff. Then we got Cardi B, and these are the Go Willa. These are the women that's leading the culture now. For some reason, everybody just run to that and real life like it's like. And then you got this other lady. She's break me out the plastic and my feeling. I don't know how you feel it, brand new. I think is a reference into being a virgin. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then you got these guys. On the other hand, you got the young men with this drill. All they want to do is where my ops at and kill, 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 and I'm gonna smoke my op, and
Yeah.
where we going with all this?
Yeah, yeah. And and like I said, I think what last week or so. It's warfare. It's
Um,
psychological. It's spiritual. It's just warfare when everything that's negative, it seems like it's being promoted more than anything that's positive.
Uh-huh.
Negativity sells, and that's just the reality of it. Negative things, images, shooting up, anything that promotes violence and oversaturation with sex and so on and so forth. Those things are going to supersede anything that's positive because the positivity, unfortunately, is not promoted, and it's seen in so many different movies. I mean, I think we talked, before off air about the movie with Jamie Foxx. They
Right.
cloned Tyrone.
Uh-huh.
And it's so many subliminal messages in that movie about certain things they put in the foods and hair chemicals and products that keep black people laughing and keep black people distracted. And that's what we're dealing with in real time, distractions. We're not seeing what's going on with the world. Too many of us are not concerned about what's going on, with the interest rate. We're not going on with what attacks on what's happening down in Florida with moron DeSantis and him attacking Black history and trying to rewrite it. A lot of us don't see that that's just the beginning. That's in Florida. It's going to move to different state by state by state until they make our history a footnote.
True. And we don't even realize how close we are to a third world war. We don't even. People is walking around like they're not even noticing all this stuff. Like it don't even exist.
Yeah.
You're
right.
Let me address this guy. Shout out to Choose Change. Yeah, DeAndre Edwards, man, that was my boy, Big Red, man. So you know Big Red. Wow, that's crazy. Rest in peace. But go ahead, Shy.
No, you're right. You hit the nail on the head when you say that we don't realize how close we are to World War III. I think I just saw somewhere today where Biden just gave Taiwan billions of dollars in aid. We know what that means. That's just to counter China. Once again, we going back to this thing where we don't see things that's affecting us every day because we're so distracted with entertainment. And that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, if it's not Whack, it's not Crip Mac, or it's not Charleston White, it's other individuals that's on the internet, ranting and raving and shouting and, cursing and just, putting on the display, both. And then you got, a lot of the sisters that's, not acting oddly. I'm talking about modern women, not traditional sisters, the sisters that grew up in the household with two parents that knew how, to know how a household works and know how to be a wife and all this stuff. So, we, for some reason, the younger generation don't seem to care about that. Both men and women.
You're right. We've been both men and women are definitely distracted. And like I said, it's warfare. And I don't think that, I always say COINTELPRO never died. COINTELPRO never went away.
No, it's just reinvented itself.
Yeah, exactly. It's more technical now.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't seem to understand with all the information that we have in our hands. And I'm not saying Google is 100%, but even just sometimes just a quick Google search can lead you to some things that may be true. Also, you definitely have to do your own research outside of the internet. But that's not, like I said, that's not being promoted, and we don't see the psychological attack. Most of us don't see the psychological attack that's happening to our generation. It is all it is attacking the next generation. They want to pretty much kill off this generation here that has some sense, so they can attack our children that's coming up in the next generation. And we seem to be asleep. Most of us seem to be asleep on what's happening with us overall.
Yeah,
countrywide.
Now we don't. People don't even realize it's not Jim Crowism. It's Jim Crow Esquire. In other words, the lawyers and people that are in the parliament, not necessarily parliament, but in the legislature, are the new Ku Klux Klan. They have implemented laws that impact us in a way that we don't know, and because a lot of laws was passed just this past July. People wasn't even aware that they passed. They never even looked or cared to even bother to see, gun rights was passed. And there's also, I'm talking about here in California, I'm sure there's other places in other cities and other states they pass laws as well. But what I'm saying is that they don't even know that you can now go get your your records sealed, or they're doing something with that. People that's been, what should have been done long ago, because part of us not being part of the economy and having a sustainable, a livable income is because they have always held us back from that based on, okay, you committed this crime, you served your time, and now you out, you ready to get back in the workforce or be a productive citizen, become a voter, pay taxes, all that, but you can't because you got this felony, you can't get this job. So now they're trying to do away with that. So I'm just wondering why all of a sudden now, they never do nothing that's going to really benefit us. Everything they do is going to benefit them for their reason, not ours. Welcome, Nose. We got Nose in the house. What's going on with you, Nose?
Hey, how's that, brother?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Just listen.
Okay. Yeah. And brother man, you absolutely correct. They never do it, or they do some type of gesture, like I just saw Biden do the Emmett Till statue. I mean, it's great, but as they always say, where are the tangibles? Why is it always gesture with us, but when it comes to other groups, you give them something that's actually obtainable, that's long lasting, that's something that's going to economically empower them. Although to a degree, I wish we didn't have to so much. I won't necessarily say ask them for anything. So it should be something within ourselves that we should be able to support each other. And I think it can happen, but it's the whole saying to go that some of us think that their ice is colder. We don't want to see, a lot of us don't want to see other black men and black women thrive and be successful, but it's okay to see other groups of people driving nice cars or living in nice homes and all this other stuff. But when it comes to us, some of us have that mentality of that crabs in the barrel, as the old saying goes. We don't want to see each other thrive, and it's sad.
Let me get you in here, Blows. What's your thought on perception? Perception is not reality. It's just a subjective meaning that it's just a bunch of feelings. People are not really giving you what they know, but they're serving you with feelings.
Yeah, I agree with perception, man. That's key, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if I can put an image up there and reach one picture, and I can get 1,000 people to see this one picture, it says 1,000 words. So if I'm going to show an image of you being a pimp, a hustler, a gangster, a dope, whatever, or whatever construct that I use with perception, if I can get that out there to the world, then I give the people an idea that a certain race or class of people act like this. So they've been playing on our perception with Hollywood and for so long. And that's where I think where it kind of got messed up for us, because of being perceived a certain way.
Yeah,
I just touched with it with that.
It gives the it interprets the ethnic identity. In other words, they got us down as a monolith, and when we're not a monolithic people, in other words, around the world, the perception may be, the ethnic identity may be that we create havoc, we destroy our own communities, or we're 24 hours gang banging over here, whether it be in Chicago, LA, or DC, or Milwaukee, or Texas, or wherever. They just, these other people that come into our country, they automatically know that we the ninjas, The only ninjas, we the only people in the world call that word. The other people in the world, they refer to them as where they're from as their country. So we're, the ninja was created here in the United States. So that's not by mistake. That's,
Yeah, you're definitely right on that. And you said something key. You said when most people come here, they already have a perception, and that's by design. That's by design. I think it's by design for many reasons. I've always, me and a couple of other brothers, we talk about how a lot of groups coming here, they're going to be another voting class. They're going to be another class to try to do their best to replace us in so many different areas where they feel like they don't have to depend on, quote unquote, whether people disagree how powerful it is, but they don't have to depend on the black vote anymore. Or they're going to have move us out of certain neighborhoods and move these people in, which is happening all over this country. And they do come here with this perception, and they do come here trying to get in part of what they call this class system. Whiteness is a class, so to speak. It's a caste system. You could declare yourself white, then you're a part of a certain class. The only people that can't really declare themselves quote unquote white is so-called black people. So everybody else would come to this country and be classified as white, whether you Arab, whether you from a Hispanic country, an Asian country. Everybody could declare themselves under this particular title, except the so-called African American.
Yeah, because they want the perks. Because anytime you fill out an employment application, is best if you got the look, you're definitely gonna put it down. Hey, white, you're a shoe-in at that point, you know.
Right, and another way, and another thing on the African American paradigm, like I you know, a Jewish partner of mine that I build with, he's an African American. He came from Africa and benefited off the African American paradigm. He'll tell you, yeah, I check American, rich, I'm Jewish. My family is tied to the De Beers diamonds. See, I mean, good bill, good dude. And it's not his fault. He's just telling you who he is. He's an African American. And he said it himself. He benefited off the African American paradigm. And he was a Jewish kid. So, I mean,
yeah, you're talking about affirmative action before the Supreme Court blew it up. Yeah, I get it.
So again, we're talking people that benefited. So that's why these things are coming to a fold. And really, it don't matter if it comes to a fold now, because folks have benefited. Now here we go again, still trying to figure out where we at as a people. I think enough of that is too much enough. Me personally, my own inclination of why that don't work no more is because we all different, man. We all different. I mean, I get that we black as one, they classifying us as one skin color, but I think that we got to get past that and say that, oh, we got to look at things from a cultural level, a ancestry level, where you really from, you know, and things of that nature. And I think, and I land with this, to fight on a political level, I think you got to fight it at the local level if you really want change, you know, because a lot of these kids are not, and I'll land with this, 1800s is real important to show that how this thing got really mixed up. And I think if people relook at the 1800s and how we ushered into the 1900s, that's real key to show how this stuff got mixed up.
Watch this, man. I don't know how many guys are aware of this, but I'm going to say this. You know they got a new crayon now? And you know what the color is? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think I saw a comedian talk about it. Yeah, but I'm not sure.
It's called Booty Hole Brown.
Okay. Yeah. See, I thought when the comedian said, I thought it was a joke, but I guess it's not.
No, it's a real thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, it's a real thing.
Don't surprise
but
me.
I'm just telling you, they put so many things out there that get past us, that escape our conscious or our eye or our understanding or our level, you know, because, you know, we got to understand, overstand, and understand at the same time, because we in that paradigm where everything is don't shift, and it's fleeting, it's speeding. And if you got your head stuck in things that are of a hood nature or a local nature or you know, where we tend to fill out in alleys, parks and corners and streets and liquor stores. That's where you find black people, but you don't find a variety of information and stuff that's going to push the community upward, instead of, you know, holding it right there where it's at. Because if you continue to hang in alleys, parks and corners and liquor stores, then you know what that is. It's not, you don't have a whole lot of growth right there.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think it's we can attack all levels. You know, local. I do agree. We do have to get the local under control. I know national would definitely be It'd be a test, or it would be a fight, of course, but I would never say give up. But it would definitely be, you either going to do it or you're going to die trying. I mean, that's just the reality of it. You
Uh-huh.
know, you're gonna do it or you're gonna die trying doing it, because
Uh-huh.
we are consistently under attack. You know, whether, like I said, whether we are labeled one thing or whether we labeled another, we are consistently under attack. We're the only people whose identity is consistently under attack. Too many people are doing things in our name or in our image or in our likeness, and they put it on us as a group. Like I said, they all put us in one category, as one group of people, which I think that we even have to fight against that. You know, just
Right.
to let them know that, hey, we are not all X, Y, and Z. So the whole thing trying to box us has also been detrimental, you know, to our growth in many different ways, and many of us has failed for it,
Well, you know
unfortunately.
what I feel about it, man. A lie got speed, but the truth has endurance, and that's what we got to depend on, right there. If that the truth has the endurance, the truth is the true marathon. The truth's gonna get us to where we need, because if everything is subjective, and we know this based on, and we know because we see people how they interact to what we call the internet. The streets died again once everybody got on the internet, so everybody disagreements, or their anger or their frustrations is being carried out over the internet. We have never seen this before. This is all new. This is unprecedented, because the way the internet is structured now, you know, you got, and then what's so crazy about it, then you got all these other people that are indulging in it too, and they making millions and millions of dollars, and we making, you know, chicken feed compared to what they're doing, you know. But we're the more entertaining force, or we the more entertaining people, because we got, you know, in order to be a rapper now, you can't just be a rapper now. You got to be a gangbanger rapper slash gay slash whatever. You know, there's got to be like 3 or 4 elements in there to make you a successful music artist. And I mean, you know, don't quote me on that, but at the same time, we're looking at it.
But Mel, do you think that we have the power? And I think we do. I'm tired of giving these people this much emphasis, like they really got, man, we got the power to change stuff that may be looked and deemed as bad. This is a useful tool, because what I say is,
it ain't that they got power. It's that we've refused to go in another direction. We refuse to give up certain things that because you got to understand, nothing they have given us has been good to us or good for us. But we keep playing like it is. You know what I mean? And that's why I say,
what do you mean? What about that one, Mel?
When we talk about truth, all right, truth is the reality, but all else is either ignorance, deception, distraction, distortion, limitation, or indoctrination. With us knowing that, we know that certain things that the education system that they apply or that they put in place, it's not really meant for us. It's meant for them. The part that gets us is that they give us is to suppress us, to keep us at a deficit. And we continue to follow in that trend and continue to follow down that path, we're going to keep getting. We know that religion is a business. Jesus is the product. The black people are the consumers, and the bishops, the pastors, the preachers, and prayer warriors, and the prayer worshipers, and the prayer leaders, and all that stuff, they are the benefactors. Because they are benefactors, they're not going to tell you the truth, because they may actually make a living off of us being just following the sheep. How many people really can break down that Bible? They go to church, but if you tell them to break down the religious tenements or the articles or the faiths of what they're believing or what they're following, they can't tell you nothing. All they can just tell you is thank you, Jesus.
And just let me. I think that, and I agree, and I think some of us do give them too much power. But I think the problem is the
And I'm not just,
negative.
let me say this, let me clarify a little bit. I'm not just jumping on Christianity. I'm talking about all religions. I just use that as a vehicle to
Yeah,
express
yeah,
what I'm feeling.
yeah.
No, no,
Yeah, I
absolutely,
understood.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I was saying that I think I totally agree. We can't give them too much power, but I think the problem is the ones that's not indulging in that behavior. Unfortunately, we kind of have to work the underground, so to speak.
Shout
We
out
have
to
to,
the
like you said,
Postmaster General, by the way.
goes back to your saying when we have to do it locally. We might not be big on the radio or HBO or BET or whatever the case may be, but the ones that's not getting the shine, we have to continue to work in our community. I always have a saying that I always quote. I'll say, if they don't want to roll with us, we roll right over 'em. So locally, if we need to do what we have to do in our local communities and your families and keep pushing, unfortunately, the images and the perception, going back to the title, the perception has a lot of power and a lot of influence, unfortunately. And that is something that we have to keep fighting on a daily basis. I mean, it's something that's really out of our control as far as what gets on radio, what gets on television, until us as a people come together as one and say, you know what, we're not going to accept those negative images anymore, or we're not going to
Look,
put up with this music anymore.
right.
Change it. Until that
Look
happens,
how addictive the internet is, and I'm gonna use these guys as an example. I don't like to use them, but I got to because they're in it. We seen what's been happening with King Yellow. We seen what's happening with the guy S Bomb and a few others that's in on the internet right now with this. But they so busy trying to fight their way to remain on the internet, they're not accepting the facts that these people are levying different issues on you based on your behavior, your past behavior, and you not accepting what's coming at you. You still on the internet trying to fight something that might possibly, I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't had a chance to examine myself, but when I see that, I'm like, wow, he's willing to sacrifice himself like that just to remain on the internet and get ridiculed, get barbecued, get trumped on, get kicked, stomped, and all this stuff, just because he don't want to get off the internet. Because that's all it would have come down to. These people, they want the individual not to be on the internet no more because they feel like they don't have a right to be there.
Right. Is it fair to say, I mean, because shout out to the youth that do the internet and get their money and do it right. I'm not, like I said, I don't hate on change. Change is change. I get it. It's not for me. I get it. Reggie, you didn't come up in the B-Nose didn't come up when this was a tool for us. First of all. Second of all, we was up. So I understand and come along and people get locked into these constructs. For example, I knew that the game was changing back when I saw in 2012 the shift of the internet to MySpace and all the social media platforms. Soon as YouTube came out and about, I was in the can. Like, whoa, they didn't change the game because they didn't give guys like myself who's going to take access of information at my hands and base this thing. So this is my get. Now I'm not saying everybody because I come from
the day. Break it up. You break it up, Nose.
Okay.
Yeah, you break it up.
How about now?
Yeah, the internet is the new crack, man. It's crack.
Am I good now, Mel?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree. It's the new dope. So if these kids, if this is the new dope game, or I would call it the new dope device, it's a dope device. Use it correctly because your information, the sales pitch will never go. And that's what these kids, I teach these kids now, man, look, it's still a salesman's game because I come from that game. If you in demand with your talent and your art, you can get a following on here and there's your audience. Now, it depends on what you're giving to your audience that's going to keep you in demand. I don't care about millions and millions of views and votes no more. That shit's out the door. You can get a 200, 300, 400, 500 people on your team, and you can thrust to the stratosphere on this thing, because it, and I land, it is giving these kids a new opportunity to be creative, and basically old guys like me to get information out there to people that's in other states. I use it for the good. So I really think that there's a yin and a yang in everything we do. There's a duality side. I just think if guys like us, especially you, man, you're doing a beautiful job of getting information out there. You reach people, and so people reach people, and it becomes a domino effect, because you said it a few minutes ago that the truth is a walk. It's a journey. It ain't overnight. We breaking up constructs about us being everybody came in over here on the boat. Youngsters is listening to a new
point, man. I can come on the internet and just be giving information, dropping jewels, sharing history, stuff like that, right? But let me come on here and be arguing and literally just like I don't lost my mind going crazy, man. I'm gonna get 2,000 or 3,000 people up in there, man. Just for that, just to see that pure, just to see me unhinged, unglued, out of pocket, acting out of pure ignorance.
Yeah. And I definitely agree. It is a new wave. Is a new wave, and if it's used positively, it definitely can have a positive impact. I think the unfortunate problem is that I think too many of us. When I was younger, I used to want to save the world. Okay, but when I grew up, I realized, as I talked about before, everybody ain't gonna be saved. So it's like the message that you put out, I wouldn't even worry about who if it reaches, it's gonna reach the people it's supposed to reach. True. And that's what I live with, and that's what I go with. And whoever gets it, that's great. Whoever don't, then I just got to keep moving. The problem is that I've seen with some guys who was dropping some real knowledge, some good information, their pages got struck. Yeah. It was a strike here. Their pages got taken down. They page removed. They lied on them and said that you got nudity. It was no nudity at all.
I just ain't said nothing. I'm going through that right now, bro.
Yeah.
I just ain't said nothing.
Yeah, and that's the thing about positive information and positive knowledge that's given on these things, because it's still really not controlled by us. So they can just strike your page at any time just for you saying something that's true that they don't want to hear, and all of a sudden now you got a strike. I've seen it happen. So it's like,
I'm going through that right now. Let me share a little bit. I'm going through that right now. That's why my numbers and all that seem off, because YouTube has limit. They send me messages and everything, explaining to me why and all that stuff, and so I just got to get through it. So I've supposedly I'm like on punishment until September the 13th. No, September the 17th. And it's been happening since June.
Yeah, that don't surprise me. It don't surprise me at all. I mean, I've always said, when we use these devices, we use these the internet, and we use these social media sites, we still people controlling.
And you guys know I don't do no cursing. I don't be on here calling nobody no names or none of that. It's just, to me, it's just information and correcting our history and being able to narrate our history in a way that other people may not, because we got people that's trying to narrate our history, don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Right, man. And because one of the other things that I'm aware of myself is guys thought that was going to deaden us and dent us and knock us out the box. They mad that guys come from these these social orders and these constructs out there that can still want that. First thing they do is look at and like,
do me a favor, Nose, go out and come back in, because you're breaking up really bad. Okay, go, Shy.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like you said, you dropping off positive messages, and here goes a strike. Like I said, I watch your stuff, your content. You don't do no cussing. You don't do no going back and forth. You don't do no gang banging. You don't do none of that stuff. And they strike you. But the ones that's doing all this stuff, nothing happens to their pages. Nothing. I mean, they just let them go. They just let them go 2-3 times a day.
Uh-huh.
And it really doesn't surprise me because I understand how the social media sites is hooked up with certain things that are called prisms, and they definitely monitor this stuff. So anything that's, I wouldn't even say controversial, anything that they don't want getting out will be a strike to them, just to keep the information from getting out. So I understand clearly, and that's why I was saying earlier that it's some things that might not be for the internet. Some things have to be done, behind closed doors, so you won't show your hand and everything.
What's going on, Yeshua? Yeah, Shah, you don't happen to have on 2 devices, do you?
No.
Okay.
No, I just put it on mute just in case y'all hear any background noise. I just mute my
Got it. So what's your story? Yeah, you good, but Nose, you good. Go, you good.
Okay, good deal. But no, what I was saying was that us coming from these circumstances that thought that was going to break us, and to see guys get on here and still be able to deliver and articulate and have some sense and decorum, no, they don't like that. Because again, we have the power through our words and through the power of these devices to change up our history, what's been written about us, what's been perceived. And I'll be on panels building with all different races and showing them that, hey, that there's a lie been taught to y'all about us. And like they always say, and the first thing I ask them, how did you even know about us? And what I mean by that, how did you even know we walk like this or we talk? Oh, television, that's all we got. Television and exactly, television. So they know how to set this.
What's this? Tell, lie, vision. Tell, lie, vision.
Absolutely. So they think boys in the hood, menace to society, and colors with how we act. So when our paradigm got to Hollywood in 88, 89, 90, 91, because of movies like Colors, Boys to the Hood, and Menace to Society, that's how if you notice, they never show the GD structure and the vice lords because them guys is more political. Like I tell my cats, that's from Shy. Shy has always been the strong point for our race. I don't care what nobody say. That's ancient Tartaria. And they knew that taking Chicago and the Northern Territory back in the 1800s was real swift. And now if you want to go real fast with history, in the 1700s, they was coming over here with church and state. So they was pushing on tribes over here, that people that was living civilized and forcing their construct on us. Mind you, we fought the British, the Spaniards, and France. But saying that to say, I think through mixing it all up with masonry during the early stages of the Nation of Islam, when all those constructs, I would say, started up, by that time, the Indian paradigm, or what was taken from lands such as my family down in Mississippi and Georgia, we got things taken from us. So when I'm in our land, so when I'm looking at, well, wait a minute, if I got pictures of my grandmother in our sweet potato fields in 1937, well, that's letting me know that this lady didn't have no whip on her back in the 1800s. This is way after Reconstruction. We get our lands taken in 1947 during the Second Homestead Act. So things was taking us. So now getting back to the land and getting back to the soil and getting back to grounded, it hits different when you from the land and from the soil. It don't hit these foreign people a lot how it hit somebody that know about Big Mama. A lot of these folks don't know where Southern hospitality and the word cuz came from. That's the South.
Nowadays, Big Mama at the club, man.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Yeah, stay with me. So what I'm saying is that's the problem. They don't know that some of us old folks that hold that paradigm are giving it up now to show that, hey, man, we don't come from all this silly stuff like y'all think. We had to fight our way through civil rights and all that stuff that our parents had to go through. And still on top of that, on top of that, we were still moving and shaking. We were still, everybody wasn't poor, man.
Well,
I just need to
I
look at
talked about the silent generation. That was the best of our generation because they had bus companies, cab companies. They had ownership. They tilled the land. They lived off the land. They had stores. They had dry cleaners. They had everything functioning. It's just that at a period of time when integration happened, we thought that again that these folks ice over here is better than ours. We had people we had our ice over there. They had their ice over there. We just started to leave our ice and go to their ice.
Think about it, Mel. They saw that, okay, when we had the Negro League, we didn't need them. They losing money.
We had better players in the Negro League. That's why they had to get rid of that.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Right. It's fair game. What I'm saying is we don't need them. They need us. People want to see us, not them. It's just simple. Our energy moves this thing. Our energy on this planet moves this thing, bro.
We the salt of the earth.
Facts. So if our talents are being monetized and colonized, and we're not smart enough to see that, wait, it's our paradigm we need to control and monetize. And that's what we're getting at now. Because again, throughout years of suffering and saying, hey, I made it, I just want to live, people don't be having time to look back. They keep them so discombobulated with this, that, and the other, they keep them away from us. The beauty about this now is it's making, hell, I was on a space with Luke Skywalker. Luke Campbell. I'm like, man, I used to grow up listening to you, man. And now I'm sitting there talking to you. You making yourself feasible to people. Same with Judge Joe Brown. Had a beautiful bill with him. I told him, I said, bro, I used to watch you on TV, how you book people. Now to be able to talk to you and have a conversation. So I think that's one of the ways of bridging the mid class or the upper echelon of blacks on down to the lower class. Because it was a time when the bougie blacks looked at us like, we don't mess with y'all. I get it, because they was indoctrinated. If you wasn't,
Steve Coley had a whole lot to say about the boule.
Exactly. So I'll land. So if you wasn't an alpha, and respect to our people that went through the collegiate level. But what I'm saying is there was a big gap between connecting from the streets to where they was at. Because we never assimilated both parties to the table. And I think that was one of the reasons that they did. If you make it in Hollywood, you disattach yourself from your people, you put money in other constructs, March of Dimes, breast cancer for their people, but you don't create nothing for your people. So I really think that these people get behind them because of colonization and monetization, running their paperwork. Who's your accountant? A Jew boy back in the days. It wasn't no black. So because we wasn't excelling in those levels. Now that we have, and these guys are figuring things out, that they can use this wealth and put people in better positions that we could, why not? But the thing is, I just think the gap is the communication level. But it can happen.
But one thing knows they no longer can withhold information. So they realize that. So that's why, yeah, so that's why we in this paradigm shift, and they trying to figure out still how they can keep us, and a lot of what they're doing is, again, they're coming back to deception, distraction, just distortion, limitation, indoctrination, and those elaborate mysteries and illusions that we call life. The illusions is that people are coming on the internet pretending that they this and that, and they're not, and all this other stuff. They get caught up in that, and they really start believing it. It's all kabuki theater. But Shai, go ahead, man. Give us what's your part, because you from the Shai, you understood that political power over there, how they organized to be, to have, power and resources within those communities. Talk about that a minute.
Yeah, it's kind of touching bases with, and just having a few relatives and everything, is in it, whatever the case may be. But just seeing that, and I think I touched on it before, how they understood that the power the potential that a lot of those young brothers had, they had destroyed in its infancy. And that's where, you know, the drugs and everything was introduced to keep them from competing politically with those other groups of people that got political power the same way that some of those other street organizations tried to gain political power. And they understood that if these guys became the mayors and became the aldermen of their wards and in these certain sections, that these guys will have control of the city council. They couldn't imagine somebody who represented Vice Lord or somebody who represented BD or somebody who represented Blackstone sitting on the city council or saying that this policy is going to go for this neighborhood, this policy go for that neighborhood, the same way that the Irish did.
The Purple Gang and all them people, all them folks.
Yeah, they did the same stuff. But when it came to black people, they did everything in their power to destroy it. They couldn't fathom those guys competing politically with them. And that's one of the things and one of the reasons why they had to introduce, when King came to Chicago in 67, when he had 66 or 67, when he had the march.
David?
No, Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, Martin Luther King came to Chicago and he met with some of those gang leaders at that particular time. Well, 2 years later, that's when the city of Chicago declared the war on gangs in 1969. So in 1969, they started going after all the heads of the Vice Lords, all the heads of the Blackstones, all the heads of the Disciples. All those guys began to be locked up. And then you bring on the element of the Black Panthers with Fred Hampton, who was trying to get them guys organized as well. And then, of course, that fateful December 4th, 1969 is when they kind of, it's like the coup de grace, so to speak. They pretty much took out the one guy outside of
Fred Hampton was trying to bring all those guys together.
Yes, he was definitely trying to organize those guys, bring them together, have them meet up. Even, you know, a lot of people don't really talk about him, but you know, you probably hear some of these rappers talking about on King David and all this other stuff, but I think they kind of misunderstand what King David really stood for. But David Barksdale was one of the guys who was one of the first actually to start feeding kids in Chicago. A lot of people realize that he did the food breakfast program in Chicago before the Black Panther Party in Chicago did it. So when he was trying to say, hey, let's put all these guns down, let's stop killing each other, and then all of a sudden you got these little elements that want to keep up the dust, these little petty agents and all these other guys who didn't want to get it, so they'll do something, and then of course they'll blame the whole organization, or they go after a particular charismatic leader. So that's one of just a quick summary of what was kind of taking place in Chicago. And then, like I said, later on, you had the element of Martin Luther King and James Bevel, who also tried to get those guys under their wing, but they were smart enough to see the kind of play that people like Jesse Jackson and James Bevel was running at that time, because they was actually trying to use some of those guys for their own benefit. But a lot of those guys, they were young, but a lot of them weren't dumb. So they didn't fall for the play. So it's almost like, no, we're gonna run our own thing over here. And if you read some stories, some of them guys even cussed out Martin Luther King. I'm not saying that was one of the things, but they just felt like, you know, like, man, you can't come here telling us to march, you know, and be nonviolent. But they actually protected Martin Luther King when he marched in Marquette Park. And when he marched in Marquette Park, Martin Luther King came out and said he haven't even experienced that much racism in the South than what he did marching in Marquette Park in Chicago. But it was the disciples, and it was the Stones, and it was the Vice Lord who actually protected Martin Luther King the whole time he was in the city of Chicago. So that lets you know that they wanted to destroy that and cut that pipeline off early, so they won't say these guys won't have no ideas about becoming a part of the civil rights movement, and definitely not a part of the Black Panther movement. So that's why they had to, in a nutshell, kind of cut off the umbilical cord, so to speak, those guys who were in tune with some of those other revolutionary guys throughout Chicago and throughout the country, for that matter.
Got it. So I think we've been over here about almost an hour. Let's go ahead and close out. If you guys want to give closing remarks, that's fine. Go Nose.
Oh man, just shout out to panel, man. Thanks, Mel, for appreciating for building, man. But yeah, it's a lot to cover, man. And I maybe I hit it on next time. I wanted to get into the what happened in that '69 era, but yeah, we get it next time because there was a lot of things going on at that time, and that's when COINTELO was at its all apex high to where COINTELO. That's when that was at its hiatus. But that was real key, man. I'll just leave it at that, man. Hopefully next time I get it.
We're gonna continue to we're gonna make this a regular thing where we continue to build, and we're not gonna let what people are not doing. We're gonna continue to do what we do, and then hopefully it'll catch on and people continue to listen and tune in and pay attention to what's being said, because you guys are dropping some jewels. You guys are giving pertinent information that's going to educate and promote our community and promote ourselves as well to a higher understanding. We're doing our level best over here. That's all we can do, and hopefully people understand that. But go ahead, Shah, give us something going out, brother.
Yeah, I'm kind of what the brother knows. It was a lot of to touch in that '69. It definitely was a lot of stuff happening. I hope I'm sure we'll have some time one day to talk about it. And also, we also got to include with COINTELPRO. It was also Operation Chaos. Operation Chaos was also a domestic, disruption, I should say, within the United States itself, because COINTELPRO was both foreign and domestic. So we can, I hope that one day we do discuss that and see the importance. And it kind of goes back to your title tonight, Preception. Right. Preception is a strong tool. Is demonic. It's a war on the image of Black people, and we don't understand. I think a lot of people don't understand how effective perception is. So hopefully we do talk about COINTELPRO and also Operation Chaos.
Yeah, let's say those thoughts, and definitely we come back. We'll start up 1969, and we'll talk about COINTELPRO and some of the other things that happened during that time, because we got to know the power of the Black Power movement was the Black family itself. That's where they got their power from, and we want everybody to understand it. I appreciate both of you guys, man. I think it was a good bill. Let's do it again.
Definitely. Sure enough. Anytime, Brother Mel.
Okay, good enough.
All right.
Shout out to the mailroom nation, the mailroom girls. Shout out, man. Appreciate you, King Mike. Marlena, Postmaster General, what's good? What's good? Everybody else that joined us. I appreciate you, Yahshua. Of course, you always with us, bro. I appreciate your young mind that's soaking up this game, because it's only going to make you battle worthy, battle tested. It's going to prove that you understand that the importance of having this information. That way you be armed, brother. Trust me, you'll be armed to the teeth, man. So shout out to everybody that's joining us. Until the next time, trust me, we're going to continue to build the airplane while we fly. That's all we can do. And hopefully it catch fire. With that being said, I am Professor Melly Mel, the Hood Postman. Let's go.
Perfect grind all the time, baby.
Yeah. Cali Finest, baby. Proof of grind all the time. Music money. Got a dollar sign. Hub City. I'm a street nigga. Streets fuck with me. I'ma keep pushing products till the fans get me. It's guap off top. Diamond Cartier. That nigga wall won't give a broke bitch the time of day. They see me climbing. They see me shining. That's hard work. Proof of grinding. New money got me tipping in that 550. I leave bad man and I'm so pretty. I got that tech with me. That's my hater sprayer. Go big, grind now, nigga, play later. What can I say? I'm addicted to this paper stacking. And I don't talk about it, I just make it happen. Word on the block is that the shit go. Reach for the low.
Thank you. Let's see. I got my book, y'all. Share it next time. This is about my family right here, but I just got it in the mail. Before I go, let me share it. I know it's only a few of y'all left in here, but this book actually about my family. So we're going to get into it. And the book is called Honey Islands by Julius Hunter. And my family is in here, the Hearts. They go all the way back to my great, 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 great grandfather. So we're going to get into it. So next time I'll be able to tell you guys something. So till then, go ahead and lock the door because we are gone.